Happy Friday, everyone. I hope you had a great week. I feel like I've been traveling so much. It's crazy. I spent the last week in Tennessee visiting my brother and nieces and nephews. He's got four nieces and nephews, or he's got four kids. And so I have a lot of nieces and nephews out there. So had fun just hanging out with them, playing games, all those types of things. But I feel like I haven't been around you guys very much. I've been traveling so much, have not been doing AMAs. And in particular, me and AJ were talking about how long it's been since he's been on my channel himself. So, really happy to have you guys back, the audience, as friends, and even better. Well, not better, equally as good to have AJ back on the channel, good friend of the channel. Of course, EMP, and we go way back with EMP. I've done AMAs for them 1,000 times probably. So always good to have a familiar face on the channel. What I need from you guys as we're going, please hit the like button. Always helpful. Okay. YouTube looks at that and says, oh, this is good content. So please hit the like button. It's right below the video. You really should do it. There'd be no reason not to. Please hit the like button. If you have questions as we're going, bring them up. AJ would love to address those things. But let's go ahead and hop into it. So, AJ, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for coming here today.
Right on, James. Yes, brother. It's always a pleasure. Again, our personal relationship and business relationship aside, I think we may have the record for being the most frequent protocol on your channel. So again, brother, happy to be here. Much love to you and your whole community. And yeah, we've been busy, man. You've been traveling, but we've been building. So it's been a really crazy, DeFi summer. Again, all of us have been bleeding out with this horrible, horrible bear market, but we've continued to build and innovate. And really, deliver on a lot of things that we're doing, even during this bear. And yeah, for those that don't know me, I'm AJ Brockman. I'm fully doxxed. You can look me up. And we have run a successful protocol called EMP Money, not to be confused with Elephant Money. But
Yes.
shout out to BT. We love BT. And hey, maybe that's some foreshadowing of a future endeavor. But yeah, we're EMP Money, and we have a brand new protocol, a sister protocol. Again, not a distraction, which we'll talk about in a minute. I think a lot of the community that isn't involved day to day thinks that we're moving on to something new and shiny, but it really is part of building an entire ecosystem. So we're here to talk about Sparkswap today. But yeah, that's just a little bit of background on who I am, and I'm a 10-year DeFi veteran. Again, when you really add the numbers up, it's crazy to think I've been in crypto for 10 years. Time flies in crypto for sure.
Oh yeah, yeah, it absolutely does. And yeah, we were joking. I told my thumbnail guy, "Hey, we're doing an EMP video." And I've done so many elephant money videos recently. He said, "Oh, that must be an elephant money thing." And so he put elephant money in the thumbnail. And it's a little bit kind of clickbait, a little bit. We're trying to drag the herd in
Totally.
to but yeah, hashtag elephant herd if you are part of elephant money. But yes, this is not related to elephant money, but both me and AJ love BT and love that protocol. So but we'll get that changed. So maybe you could start us off. Yeah, I do want to talk about how does this affect EMP, go through some of that stuff, but maybe you can start us off with just kind of, I like to start with the overview, like an elevator pitch. What is Sparkswap and what are you trying to do with that?
Yeah, 100%. So, again, let's start with that and then we'll back up on how this really benefits the EMP ecosystem. So, SparkSwap is a project that we have been have had in the works for quite a while now. We originally were going to launch on PulseChain, but we didn't know what, or we had a few ideas on what we wanted to do. And the original idea was actually another tomb fork, which is what EMP is, but we saw a lot of downfalls with EMP, and we'll talk about that towards the end of this AMA. And we didn't just want to launch another protocol that is the same old pretty much. So we wanted to rather launch a protocol that actually strengthens each individual protocol by having all this infrastructure and ecosystem come together. So with that, we decided to pivot a little bit and launch SparkSwap. And SparkSwap is an AMM or yield farm, a decentralized exchange. We're not a full-blown DEX quite yet, but we'll talk about that too. On PulseChain, and again, I'm a OG Hexagon. I sacrificed large for Pulse. You know, you can argue that Richard Hart is not everybody's cup of tea. He's definitely a polarizing character, but you can't argue with the fact that he can build a community. And you can have the most amazing blockchain in the world, but if nobody is using it, then it doesn't really matter. And Richard Hart actually has something called Hart's law that basically describes this. That the value of a network is based on its users. And so, again, capitalizing on that, and the SEC blow. I mean, we had just been kind of sitting back and waiting to see what happened with Pulse. And once the SEC came out and indicted Richard, we saw a large sell-off on Pulse, and we thought, man, this is the perfect time to launch. And again, it's about thinking about things differently. Most people are scared when there's a big sell-off like that, but we see opportunity in launching at the bottom. And Sparkswap has been out for about just over 15 days or so, and we have had massive success. We're in the top 10 of all protocols on Pulse Chain, with many different metrics. We at one point, we were doing about $1 million a day in volume. Right now, we have a market cap that matches our liquidity, which again is unheard of. I've only seen that in like two other projects. Massive liquidity and a TVL approaching 8 million again. So the success has been amazing. And there's two really key things that make SparkSwap different. But again, before I get into that, that's kind of the extended elevator pitch for sure, James.
No, I love that. No, that was good. You answered a whole bunch of my questions. I was marking off. Okay, he answered that. He answered that. That's great.
Perfect.
Can you guys? Yeah, that was actually going to be my next question. Sometimes people hear, "Oh, another swap. Why do we need another swap?" Do you want to talk about why a swap and why this swap in particular?
Yes, absolutely. So, again, there's two key things that make SparkSwap different. But before we even get into that, to answer your question, yeah, we don't need another AMM, right? Or swap or DEX. But in our case, we kind of do. And it plays into the third wheel of our ecosystem called L1 DEX. And we'll be back on the channel to talk about this in detail. But a lot of you may remember a previous AMA about L1X, which is a brand new layer one protocol that we are heavily tied to. And we're building a cross chain DEX that allows you to actually swap tokens without a bridge. And so, building a sister DEX on Pulse, we're actually creating our own partnership with ourselves where we are able to actually provide the liquidity on PulseChain so that when L1 DEX is interoperable with Pulse, we are right there ready and waiting with all the Pulse side liquidity to then fuel, all those transactions. So we really have built it to, again, if somebody else won't build it, then we'll build it ourselves. And that's really what it's come to. And again, it's about setting ourselves up for the future. And then all of this, both L1X and SparkSwap, will drive fees and revenue not only to the individual projects, but then back home to EMP and EMP Fusion. So again, it's we're playing out chess and not checkers here for sure.
Awesome. Nope, love that a lot. Can you talk about on SparkSwap the different ways to make money? So, I mean, farms and pools, people are going to be more familiar with, but you just kind of want to talk through what's available right now.
Oh, Oh, yep, sorry, I'm muted. Can you hear me?
No, you're
All
good.
right, yeah, all right, good deal. I got butterfingers here. So, all right, yes, absolutely, James. So that again, we're all here to make money, right? I mean, that's the beauty of crypto, the beauty of DeFi, and it's in projects that are not going to rug and disappear with all the money. So we have proven our commitment. We're a trusted team. All of our protocols have audits. But how do you actually get involved? So again, and this will transition perfectly into what makes Sparkswap different. Well, um, we are having very high APR. Again, as you can see, when James goes through this live in front of you, these APRs are extremely high in the beginning, and we use it almost as a billboard to get people in. Now, we understand that high APR is not necessarily sustainable, and we fully have planned for that moving forward. And so, what happens is you're able to provide liquidity, whether in farms or pools, and you're rewarded with the Spark token for doing so. And this helps us, again, get people in the protocol. It helps us generate some TVL, and it also helps us generate fees. So there are an in and out fee on each pool and farm. The farms are a little bit less, at 2% in, 2% out, and the pools are a little higher because you don't have any risk of impermanent loss. So the pools are 4% in and 4% out. But one of the main things that makes SparkSwap different is rather than the developers getting those fees like us, we are giving those fees to the protocol. So if you go to Sparkler, James, this is the secret sauce. So by staking your Spark token in Sparkler, you're able to earn a percentage of the fees from the protocol itself. So this is extremely different than how many AMMs or yield farms operate, and it gives direct utility and use case to the Spark token because James, and I'm sure you know this, we could even pull up a chart on like Cake or any of the reward tokens that typical dexes give. They spike all the way up and then they are sold to oblivion. And the reward token is only meant to be sold in these sort of protocols. Well, because we've implemented the sparkler, we have actually what we feel is solved that issue. Where yeah, see, there you go.
This is Cake, by the way,
That's the cake
not
chart.
Spark. This is
Yep,
Cake.
totally. Where we see a continual sell off, but if you look at Spark, we see it actually in an upward trajectory, 15 days in, which is unheard of. I mean, we've had a very, very sustainable growth in Spark. And again, that's because rather than selling your Spark token, you can stake it into Sparkler. So let me just go over that real quick, and then I'm happy to answer some questions here. But if you pull up our docs as well, James, it might help. And go all the way to the bottom. There's a little graphic. So perfect. Here we go. So we always get it's a little tongue in cheek. I know, we always get in trouble for our infinite money generator comparison, and even James was well aware, the don't sell EMP gang. Well, the idea is that we always encourage taking profit, but it's how you take profit that is powerful. And with SparkSwap, we brought that to even a whole new level. So what you would do is you would single, you get into pools or farms, again, either single asset or LPs. You then claim the spark that you're earning. And then instead of selling that token, like 99% of other protocols is the only way to take profit, we have a very different way of taking profit. So you would claim your spark, you would put it in Sparkler, and then all the fees from the protocol, depending on your stake, which we'll talk about that in a second, you get a bonus for staking longer. But all the fees that are generated are used to buy back Spark and PLS. It then creates an LP token, which again is actual Spark and actual PLS. And then that is what you're rewarded in. So not only are you rewarded in an LP token, but it's deepening the liquidity of the protocol as well. And even if you don't care about the ecosystem at all, you would just unpair the LP and then use your profit in Pulse because again, an LP pair is half and half. So half Spark, half Pulse. You then put your Spark back into the sparkler to earn even more, and again take profits in PLS, or compound it back in, depending on your risk tolerance. So that is really a high level overview. Again, I know I threw a lot at you to begin with, but I get so excited when we start talking about it. So does
Yeah.
that make sense, James? You're
Oh
great
yeah,
at,
yeah, absolutely. And that
yeah.
was one of the questions is, what, like you said, people have seen this happen, whether it be in cake or I'll say, Animal Farm or things, a lot of different places. When you're paid out in a token, then and there's nothing to do but sell that token, it goes down. So again, just to sum up what you're talking about is you get this Spark token, and then instead of selling the Spark token, which you could do, but that's going to make the price just go down. It's going to be bad for the ecosystem, but you can deposit in the Sparkler, which will give you Spark PLS liquidity pool tokens, and then you can split those, and then you end up only selling Pulse tokens. Is kind of the idea behind that. Did I sum that up correctly?
Yeah, brother, absolutely. And again, we're not here to sell shame anybody. I think a healthy strategy would be maybe just sell some Spark until you're made whole on those in and out fees. Again, to each of their own. But if you really believe in the protocol and know what we have on the horizon, which again, I have a ton of bullish announcements for you only, James. But Spark will be again very in demand over the long run, and right now, yes, Spark is inflationary, and that is on purpose because you have to have at least some inflation to have those high APRs, which gets everybody in the door. But once we move away from that, again, it could be within a few months, or within a year for sure. We move away from the inflation, and then all of you that have been staked, in Sparkler own part of the protocol essentially. So, and one more thing with Sparkler, James, if you go to it, you actually get a bonus for the longer that you stake. So we took some inspiration from Hex, again being on Pulse and being exposed to the Hex ecosystem. But rather than where Hex is it happens is you stake, and then when your staking time is up, Hex is then minted to pay your rewards. Well, we do not mint additional Spark to pay your rewards. You're paid based on the actual revenue from the protocol. And James, I think, and you're going to resonate with this well. We are seeing a new wave in DeFi where unless a protocol has real yield, then there is only failure in its future. I mean, without that real yield mechanism, we're all just glorified Ponzi's. So again, we're getting away from all of that and moving towards a real yield model that we're sharing with everybody in Sparkler.
Okay, love it. And a couple comments I want to bring up here. First, I'm not going to try. Yukim Nata, thank you for joining my community. Appreciate having you. Welcome. Great to have you. Crypto Ethos says, "Open the floodgates. Screw this bear and screw the SEC." Wow,
I
harsh
love it.
language.
Yeah, it's harsh
Yeah, I,
language, but I love
I
it.
didn't
Yeah.
say that, but Crypto Ethos, I sentiment that a lot. Um, okay. Secret Sauce's Sparkler 3650. Now I see a lot of people commenting 3650.
Yes,
I'm
we
not
need
familiar
to.
with what that means.
We
Can you
need to
explain
get
that to me?
you. Yes, we need to get you part of the 3650 squad, James. So again, just like Hex, there was a movement of 5555, which was the maximum stake length on Hex. We are our secret club is the 3650 gang. So it's a 10-year stake, which again, uh, you're essentially burning your tokens, but by doing that, and this is a great point too, we are actually reducing the circulating supply of Spark as well. So right now, 41% of our circulating supply is actually inside of Sparkler, which again is so powerful in terms of economics. And yeah, essentially you're burning your tokens if you're going for the full amount, but you're able to earn up to a 400% multiplier on your shares, and your shares are what determine how much rewards you get. So the 3650 gang, they've been getting anywhere from 1% to 6% a day. And again, that is in real yield. That's not That's from the fees of the protocol. It's not a token that we mint.
Okay, amazing. Love that. And Funny Turtle wants to know if there's going to be a 3650 squad shirt coming out.
I love it. Yes, absolutely. Shout out to Funny Toro. Again, an OG in the space. Yeah, we would love to put out a an official 3650 t-shirt for sure.
Awesome. 4D Traveler wants to know, is the idea for Sparkler to have higher APR than the farms ultimately once the initial yield cools off? Seems like that would help people really want to be in the Sparkler.
Yeah, that's a great question. So, again, yeah, that is part of the roadmap that we're moving towards. Again, the idea is that we actually become a full-blown DEX. Right now, we're built on top of Pulse X, which is the native DEX for Pulse itself. And we did that again. This is the second thing that makes SparkSwap very different, is that we're able to rehypothecate some of the LP pools. Again, that's kind of a big word, but it essentially means we're able to get credit for the LP within our protocol on the native I'm sorry, Pulse X swap, which actually rewards in ink token, which is called incentive token. Again, that is the token, just like Cake, that Pulse rewards their LP providers. And so by doing this, again, the numbers as of today, we're able to generate about $2,000 a day in real yield just from the rehypothecation as well. So right now, the APRs definitely favor the Spark PLS farm because that is most healthy for the protocol, but it's also the most risky. And then the other farms that we have higher allocations to are the ones that we're able to rehypothecate. But in the long run, we'll get away from all of that, be able to provide our own LP again, and then really become an actual DEX. And then rather than new Spark being minted for the inflation of rewarding everybody in the farms and pools, a part of the swap fees and the we actually will have an arbitrage bot that will be arbing between different LPs. That will be what feeds the APR. So ultimately, APR will probably settle, between 20 and 50 percent. But even that is very powerful, especially on blue chips, on an asset that becomes actually deflationary over the long run. So yeah, absolutely.
Okay, very good. Yeah, and I was looking for my glasses for an educational moment. That's how I can't find them though. But yeah,
Yes.
hypothecation, rehypothecation is just where when you use collateral, so something that's sitting there and basically you invest it into something. And so you're using money that's sitting there as collateral to earn a yield, is basically what that means. So the
Yeah.
more you know.
Yeah, no, I
Um,
love it, James. And again, we do that without ever taking custody of your tokens either. So again, we're fully decentralized. We have an OX guard audit. Everything came back great. There was one edge case that we left open just so we didn't have to relaunch the protocol every time we add one of these rehypothecated farms. But you're always able to withdraw your funds from the protocol at any time.
Okay, love it. I got a couple more questions here. When looking at Sparkler, current versus yesterday's APRs, are the APRs from yesterday's the average?
Yeah, so another great question. We really are struggling with this, and it's the bane of all protocols existence. So APR is what we call a lagging indicator, where you have to have the data based on the previous days. It's not obviously none of us can tell the future, so APR gets really tricky. But yeah, the short answer is the APR that's displayed is an average. Over the last few days, actually. And we're moving towards a model that will hopefully illustrate this a little bit better. And obviously, APR is variable as well. So again, you can only go on the previous data, but it's been a swing anywhere from 1% to up to 6% daily. When we had a lot of volume and people were going in and out of the farms, and the protocol was just generating fees on top of fees, that really helped boost the APRs for sure.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, so I want to be real clear with everyone that this is not an indication of what is going to happen for sure, right? Like this is all based on past numbers. So I mean,
100%.
you can do some logic to say, oh, if this is what's happened in the past, chances are that it might be similar in the future. So you can do some of that type of stuff. But this is not saying you will get this 0.75% APR tomorrow, every day. So that's
Yeah,
good
no doubt.
clarification
Well,
there.
and on the flip side of that too, which is one more little bit of alpha, we are really close to launching our bridge. So we will be having a BSC or Binance Smart Chain or BNB Chain now. That will be 2 PLS. So to my knowledge, we are one of the only working or again, this isn't live quite yet, but we're days away. Again, more alpha for James. But this is the only will be the only working BSC to Pulse Bridge, and then part of the bridge fees will go towards Sparkler. So again, have you ever wanted to own a bridge? Now is your chance. I mean, if you're staking Spark in Sparkler, you will be fed with these fees, and you know. The model again right now the breakdown is going to be 0.5% on bridging. That's a little bit higher than the native bridge. The only other bridge right now is the native Pulse bridge, but that is only Ethereum to Pulse, and that's a 0.3% fee. But again, you're spending upwards of $10 on ETH fees. So this bridge will be hopefully much cheaper for people to use as well. And part of the fees, on top of going to Sparkler, will also go back to supporting the price of EMP. So again, everybody that thinks this is a distraction from EMP, it's really just building real revenue into EMP where everybody can benefit.
Awesome. I love that. Let's talk a little bit more about that. We do have some more audience questions I want to bring up, but again, I know a lot of EMP holders, myself being one of them. I have quite a substantial amount of EMP. How exactly does this affect EMP, and what is kind of the future of EMP look like with this in mind?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're gonna come back on and we're gonna do a dedicated video to EMP Fusion as well. But EMP Fusion is the next phase of EMP, and all of you that have EMP now and eShare, there will be a what we're calling a sacrifice phase where you can apply that EMP to the new protocol, and even if you don't are not bullish on that, we have all these mechanisms in place to slowly recover peg regardless. So that is basically a 5x on EMP from where we are today. And part of that plan includes revenue streams. So again, EMP Fusion is basically just like Sparkler, where you're staking your EMP, but at a whole nother level. It's even more powerful. It's Sparkler on steroids. But then you're able to earn part of the entire ecosystem of fees again as real yield. So again, we'll have a whole AMA about that. But anybody getting in on EMP and eShare now is getting exposure to again earning yield from all the other revenue streams. And L1 Dex is another revenue stream that will feed EMP as well. And that again has even larger potential than Sparkswap. So right now it's just about getting everything, all of our ducks in a row, and then once we finally do release Fusion, the revenue streams are already there in place.
Love it. Love it. I love the word, words, revenue stream. Those are good
Yes.
words. Music to my ears. So I love that. And just so you guys know, we're going to be doing several videos here with AJ about some different things. So we're doing this one. We're going to do one on L1 X. I see some
Yeah.
people talking about that. I'm
Yeah.
ready for my
L1
L1
Dex.
X
Yep.
wallet.
Yep. Exactly.
So
Yep.
looking forward to that. And then we'll do an EMP one as well. So we'll have AJ back here to talk about a great deal, many things here over the next few weeks. So
Yeah,
excited for
we
that.
like I said, James, we've been building, man. We've taken the last 6 months to really evaluate everything, look at all the downfalls that we have seen, and implement a bulletproof plan between the three protocols. Again, L1DEX, Sparkswap, and EMP that really just continue to feed each other. And I know you're a developer by trade, James. So I know you guys refer to it as a flywheel. So the flywheel will be spinning at full speed once everything is up and running for sure.
Love it. Love spinning flywheels. We got a question about the farm. How about an Atropa farmer? Are you going to be expanding this farm to hold more LP tokens, or what's the plan for that?
Yeah, no doubt. So another great question for the traveler. They're on top of it. So Atropa. I don't know about an Atropa farm. I still can't wrap my head around Atropa. So maybe 40 traveler can fill me in. But yeah, we will absolutely have partner farms. And again, this is another amazing potential revenue stream. We are going to operate as a hub for all things Pulse related. So with partner farms, not only is it attractive through partner protocols because you're able to deepen your liquidity by rewarding people, but the reward in Spark will be Spark that you either have to buy or burn as a protocol. So this is again another way to entice positive buying pressure or burning on Spark while bringing in other partner communities. A great example would be like a launch pad. The reason that you have a launch pad is that you want more eyeballs on your project. For us, we'll have a farm where projects are already established rather than launching, and you can only get involved by supporting Spark.
Okay, love it. Investing 101. How many total shares in Sparkler now? Where can one see it?
Yeah, so we have been pretty close source with Sparkler just because it is a very proprietary contract. It's the only contract that we don't have verified. But we have a ton of community members that have been doing all the math. There are some API calls that you can make that kind of give you an estimate of how many shares there are. But again, the idea is that going longer gives you more shares. So as long as you have that in mind, you can kind of plan for what kind of returns that you'll be getting. And obviously, as more Spark comes out, you know. You do have to keep up with others that are staking into Sparkler, but that's even more of a reason to go big or go home, where you're doing the maximum 10 years. And again, we're not asking anybody to not take profit. You're actually able to yield way more. Again, I made this analogy, and James, I think you've said this yourself. Would you rather have $10 today or $1 for 100 days? And again, a lot of people don't choose that $1 a day for 100 days. They want that instant gratification, but over the long run, you make way more money for sure.
Yep, absolutely. Can I invest in an AJ NFT to put money in that man? Can't keep up with all the projects he's starting and running. So we
I
have, yeah,
love it. Oh man, thank you, Funny Toro. Love you, brother. So yeah, man. Again, just continue to support our protocols. We're never gonna give up. We've proven that we're not going anywhere. And if you believe in me and the rest of our team, then definitely get some exposure to our ecosystem. Not financial advice. Yeah.
yes, never financial advice. AJ, in your opinion, does RH Richard Hart have a trick up his sleeve regarding INC so that it too will not be a dump token like Cake and instead perform with Hex and PLS in bowl? Huge for Sparkswap. If so, I predict yes.
I love it. So again, I think that Richard Hart has many tricks up his sleeve. One of which is just this whole SEC, nightmare. I think he brought it on himself, probably a little bit on purpose. But in the fact that he can either fight this as freedom of speech, which he's already made the analogy that blockchain is speech and therefore protected, or he could just write the check. Again, we all know he has enough money to do so, and we saw this exactly the same exact thing play out with XRP or Ripple, where after there was a decision made, then the token skyrocketed, and so I think that Richard Hart has a game plan. I don't know specifically for Inc. What his game plan would be, but maybe hey, we'll license Sparkler to Richard himself and go from there. So yeah, shout out to Richard. Hit me up, man. So
Love it. Hopefully he watches this, and that'd be great to get him on board. Crypto Ethos would like to know, so will there be an EMP on PulseChain?
yeah, so this again is also super bullish for you, James, and the EMP squad. So I had mentioned the bridge, but the initial bridge token, will actually be EMP. So this is a way to give utility to EMP. We will then have liquidity and arbitrage bots set up to keep parity on EMP, which will be another revenue stream for us. And anybody that has EMP or eShare, we will have a partner farm on Sparkswap. So it won't be immediately; it'll probably be a week after the bridge goes live. But you'll be able to actually stake your EMP or eShare onto Sparkswap and earn some of the Spark as well. So again, while we all wait for Fusion and the eventual recovery, we're giving many ways to actually earn while we're all patiently waiting, for sure.
Okay, love it. And we got Yabonks in the house. Good to see you, Yabonks. He says he would buy an AJ NFT and says wouldn't miss an AMA with two of my favorite people, James and AJ. So
Oh, right on,
Yabonks,
Alex. Yeah, man. Your
good to see
box
you,
in the house.
man. Glad to have you on here. Let's see. MG40 says this is complicated. Let's go over just again. I think maybe it was this chart but just take it kind of one step at a time. And it's, if
Yes.
you look at the overall picture, it can be like, oh, what's going on? But just take it one little piece at a time. So the pools, for example, there's a separate one for farms, and the pools are easier because they're just a single asset going in. But you just take a single asset. Like if you go back here and go to the pools, we'll say DAI because that's just a stable coin. So we know what that is. So you get DAI on PulseChain, then you stick it into the pool. Okay. Then that is going to produce Spark tokens. Then the Spark tokens, you could sell them, but that's kind of what the ecosystem is trying to provide a way for you to not have to get profits without doing that. Instead of selling your Spark tokens, you put them in the Sparkler. Okay, so that's this section here. And the Sparkler produces Spark PLS tokens. Okay, so then when you want to go to sell, you can separate that Spark PLS token and sell the PLS token, and it doesn't hurt Spark at all. It just hurts the Pulse token, which there's a ton of Pulse token. So like this protocol is probably not going to be able to crash the price of the Pulse token by itself because there's a lot of that. So if you
Yeah,
just take
totally.
it kind of one
Well,
step at a time.
yeah, and that was beautiful, James. And to that point too, we are giving additional buying pressure on the Pulse that you're selling. So even if you're a Pulse maxi, and we are, I love Pulse, I want to support Pulse, that it's a net negative effect because all of the rewards or the fees, it buys half PLS and half Spark. So even if everybody dumped Pulse, it's still a net negative effect on the price of Pulse anyway, and it just gives people an opportunity not to sell the Spark token as well. So, and again, that we, there's many variations of what James just said, and there's a lot of people that want to compound a little bit harder, where you would just take the Spark PLS LP and put it right into the main LP farm, and now you're earning double the Spark basically on your initial investment. So there's a ton of ways to play it. We're not here to tell you what's right and what's wrong. That's the beauty of crypto. Everybody can push the buttons themselves, but we're trying to provide a platform that has options. And again, I think I don't want to say that we cracked the code, but I think that we have absolutely improved the AMM model for sure.
Okay. One more question from 40 Traveler. Any plans to use Elephant products as protocol revenue stream? Libra Finance bought 300K Elephant, for example. Thanks for the AMA. Great answers. Big respect always to EMP and AJ.
Thank you. Yeah. So again, I like BT, I like Elephant Money, but even with the amazing economic model that they have produced, I'm still not sold because there is no revenue stream. So I think that BT has plans for that. Again, I don't want to drop too much alpha about a protocol that's not even mine. But yeah, I think that once that happens, I think that is going to be killer. And yeah, I mean, I have a bag of elephant. Again, I think that there is some short-term, positivity there. But again, we try to focus on everything that we're doing. And again, more alpha for James only. We have been in talks about a potential battery NFT, or again, that'll make more sense when we release Fusion. But it's a way to cash out of our ecosystem in elephant token. So again, that would be a long-term goal after Fusion is up and running.
Okay, love it. Well, I'm a marketing guy, so always like to have calls to action. So again, I'm going to say some calls to action. AJ, you can add, take away, tell me no, don't do that. But I like to start. I always start with the cheapest options and then work my way up to if you have money you want to actually put in. So the cheapest options, hit the like button. Costs you nothing, barely even energy. It's just moving the mouse. It takes maybe like 1/10 of a calorie to get your finger down there and click the like button. That helps out. It gets the video out to more people. Also, you can hop into the Discord for Sparkswap. I'll go ahead and leave a link here in the comments. Just hop in, just interact. That helps the community be alive and vibrant. Talk about your favorite movie. Go in there and post. I want everybody watching here, go in there and post a question to get to know people in the community. You also go follow on Twitter. That's a great way to, again, help get exposure out there. The more followers someone has on Twitter, the more reach they get when they tweet things. So you can go do that, and that's all free stuff. If you want to get involved, I would recommend not financial advice, but I say financial nudging. But you can go in and start in one of these farms or in one of these pools. So again, the pools are a little bit simpler because they're single asset. The farms you got to kind of know your DeFi a little bit to kind of know what's going on. You guys don't have the Zap feature yet. Is that correct?
I love it, James. So I knew you were gonna ask this, brother. And yeah, we love the Zapper. So yeah, the Zapper will be coming. Again, the bridge was the number one priority, so that we can capitalize on the volume and the momentum, and again generate more fees. But yes, the immediate roadmap is Zapper, where you can get into the LP without even knowing how to create LP. So it makes it super simple.
Okay. And then so like if I'm creating LP tokens on BSC, I'm going to PancakeSwap. Can you create the liquidity pool tokens here on Sparkswap?
Yep, just directly where you are right there. So you would just again, you can choose whatever farm you want. Those are two different assets. You would just make sure that you have. Again, we can use Spark PLS as an example. If you have $500 worth of Spark and $500 worth of PLS, it will recognize that in your wallet. You can buy it right there if you go to trade, and then swap. That will be where you can actually buy those assets. Again, you do have to get Pulse or some asset over to PulseChain, and that's where the bridge comes into play. For those of you that don't know how to get over, again, the only one that we can confidently recommend is the native bridge at the moment, but that is ETH to Pulse, so it gets pretty expensive. Depending on how much you're going to do. But once you have both those assets, you go to liquidity, and then yep, and then it'll ask you hit add liquidity, and it'll ask you to choose. Again, you're not connected, James,
Yeah, my
but
wallet's
yeah,
not connected.
it'll ask you to choose both assets. So, and again, we have a ton of community members that will help you. Don't respond to any DMs, but you can absolutely talk in the chat about what to do for sure.
Yep, and the community would love to kind of help you through that. And honestly, this could be a great If you feel up to it, this could be a great, I always say this is a good DeFi educational experience, learning what is a liquidity pool token and how do you put it together. That's a helpful thing. But if you don't feel up to that, then you can just jump into the pools. A little bit easier process. And then again, it's going to produce the Spark token. And then you can start messing around with the sparkler. Okay. And that's, it'll be cool. I assume you guys, you have a great on EMP, you have an EMP Academy. And I assume you'll probably be doing something like that for here eventually as well.
Absolutely, brother. So again, you hit the nail on the head. We love getting educated users. So we were one of the first protocols that did an actual online course, a free of charge about our protocol because it was so complicated. EMP is definitely even more so than people think Spark swap is complicated. You needed a PhD to get involved with EMP in the beginning. But yeah, we definitely will have all of the resources. We've already started on them. Like I said, there's a lot of great videos out already, and some infographics that are again in the docs. And our community is amazing. We have over 2,000 people in our Telegram for Sparkswap in 14 days. I mean, again, it's insane. We've had some really great momentum over on Pulse, and again, I think that Pulse had a bad rap for rugs and not legitimate projects. And so when we launched this and people knew who was behind it, I think people are really excited to be able to actually earn with their Pulse in a protocol that won't disappear. So totally.
Yep. Nope. And again, some of this is, experimentation. I can't tell you how this is going to turn out in 2 years, 3 years. I can't tell you, but I will say I am confident that AJ will not take your money and run away. Okay. I will guarantee that myself. Again, I'm not saying that some of this is, tokenomics and there's experimentation going on and stuff that hasn't been tried in the same way. That's part of what crypto is. But I can
Totally.
say AJ's not going to steal your money, so that's
Yeah,
a
no
plus.
doubt. Well, and again, we have we don't hire Fiverr devs. All of our developers are part of our team. They're incredible. We have never had an exploit, or we haven't barely even had a minute of downtime on EMP. So again, we build things for the long term, and we value that transparency and obviously security among everything. So for sure.
Love it. All right, we'll take last question here, and then we'll go ahead and jump off. BitKitty wants to know: is there a minimum deposit? And the answer would be no. Correct?
Oh, sorry, I keep muting myself here. Yeah, no, that's 100% correct. No minimum. Again, I guess the only technical minimum would be enough that it makes it worthwhile for the gas fees. But yeah, no minimum, no. And again, you can come in and out of the farms at any time. Again, just be aware of that in and out fee. But even on the most conservative farms, you're gonna make your in and out fees back within a couple of weeks at this point. So again, we're early. Things are early. Tried to get on as early as we could with you, James. I know, like you said, you've been busy and traveling. But yeah, please join all of our socials. Even at EMP, we still to this day do 2 AMAs a week on our own YouTube channel that again go over literally everything that we're building, why we're still here, alpha on building Fusion out, and why it all, how the ecosystem benefits each other. So if you have any further questions, please feel free to join those AMAs as well. And yeah, man, we're almost there, James. We're building right now for when that bull market hits, brother. We're gonna be in a great position, man. Yeah.
Love it. Well, I want to thank first the audience. Appreciate all you guys. Appreciate especially the EMP community and the EMP gang who I know is joining here, and everybody's super respectful and polite in the comments. That's nice. I'm kind of a self mod sometimes, and I didn't have to do anything. No banning or anything. So love that very much. Thank you guys all for coming. Appreciate you guys. And AJ, always appreciate you. Appreciate your positive attitude. Appreciate you keep building and working. And look forward to I'll be having you back on here in the next few weeks. So looking forward to that.
Sounds great, brother. Yep, you'll see a lot of our ugly faces in the near future. Well, my ugly face, James. You have a beautiful face.
Oh,
So
thank you,
yeah,
thank you. You know, I try. You know,
yeah,
I moisturize a little bit and
yes.
things like that. So no, I appreciate it, AJ.
All right, brother. All right, much love, everybody. Bye bye.
All right, take care, everybody.